Aw shit, another horror movie review from yours truly. I know, it's been a few months since my Nope review and I fell off of doing the weekly Chainsaw Man chapter reviews, but hey, no better way to get back into the swing of things than with a review of a movie I've been excited for all year. Back in March of this year, X was released in theaters by A24 and was met with favorable reviews, and if you were lucky, you were able to see the movie at a location that had the trailer for Pearl after the credits, a film set over 60 years in the past showing us a younger version of, well, Pearl. From the get-go, the trailer captivated me because the thought of being able to see the origin, so to speak, of a character that had so much depth and one that I found to be genuinely interesting and compelling excited me. After seeing this movie, I can definitely say that the wait was well worth it, and I would certainly call myself a Ty West fan by this point. I'll have to set aside some time to watch the previous entries in his filmography. Fair warning, for clarification's sake, this review will not only have spoilers, but will also be referencing X quite a bit, as both movies are two halves of the same whole if you ask me. If you haven't seen X, I highly recommend it, but I suppose you wouldn't be watching this movie without having seen the previous entry in the series? At least I hope not, but some of you out there are heathens, and I have my eyes on you. Before we begin, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 500 subs before the end of the year, and it would mean a lot to me to reach this goal of mine. But without further ado, let's put our best dancing dress on, slip on those high heel shoes, and take a look at Pearl. Pearl begins with a dance number from our titular leading lady, played once again by the immensely talented Mia Goth, reprising her role from X, although this time around obviously playing a much younger version of the character. Pearl's family are German immigrants who are living on a farm in Texas, the same farm that the previous film also took place on. She helps her overbearing and controlling mother tend to the farm as her father is paralyzed, leading her to want a more extravagant life, directly mirroring Maxine's backstory with her religious father in X.
I'm a fucking star! The whole world is gonna know my name!
Say it now.
I will not accept a life I do not deserve!
I do not deserve!
Howard, her husband that we were introduced to in X, is mentioned frequently as being deployed in the army during World War I, but we don't see him until the very end of the movie. The cinematography in this movie was superb as well, with the Technicolor style bringing such vibrant life to the day shots, while scenes set during the evening feel cold and sad due to the way lighting and shadows are used to portray the mood, almost like a waking nightmare. Throughout the film, every scene where Pearl and her mother Ruth interact with one another for long stretches of time all take place in these dimly lit rooms, and to me, it felt like an allegory for Pearl's mental state when dealing with this domineering force in her life. When you look at the scenes where her mother is absent, everything is vibrant, colorful, full of life. Even when she visits the city during the nighttime, the lights of the theater keep it from feeling lifeless. Inevitably, all of this boils to a head when Ruth finds out that Pearl wants to try out for a traveling dance troupe, which leads to an incredibly well-acted and crushing scene of the two having a full-blown eruption of an argument over regret. A fight breaks out between the two, and Ruth catches fire after being pushed too close to the kitchen hearth, causing Pearl to drag her to the basement and leave her for dead. It's at this point in the movie that Pearl's complete mental decline happens, and we're all strapped in for the ride. Earlier in the movie, we're introduced to Mitski, Pearl's sister-in-law through her marriage with Howard, whose deployment has certainly attributed to her own mental decline. Mitski and her mother pay a visit to the immigrant family, extending an arm of genuine kindness by checking in on how they're doing and offering a frankly delicious-looking pig to them as a gift, but it is sadly declined and left on the porch to rot throughout the remainder of the film. At first, you're not meant to think too much about the dish, but with each new victim of Pearl's, we're shown the pig has not left the spot it's in and continues to rot away in the sun just a little more over time, being a subtle allegory for Pearl's declining mental health as she too has, in a sense, rotted away from being in the same spot for too long. Earlier in the video, I said that Mia Goth was immensely talented, and to be frank, I think even that is selling her performance in this movie short. She gives the performance of a lifetime in this movie, with multiple scenes showing the lead up to an eventual mental breakdown of Pearl. The latter half of this movie gives us one of the most frightening sequence of events I've seen in a modern horror film, as Pearl finally snaps after being rejected by the projection as she had slept with the previous night, and kills him in a fit of rage with a pitchfork. Not long after, seemingly at peace, Pearl smothers her father and kills him off screen before leaving for the dance troupe tryouts. We're given another scene with Mitski interacting with Pearl where, once again, her sister-in-law treats her kindly and even supports her because, she's the only reason Pearl even knew about the tryouts in the first place. This is when we get my personal favorite scene in the movie. Hands down the part that stuck out to me the most and really hammers home my point about Pearl's mental degradation. Pearl begins to dance on stage, and eventually curtains part behind her and give way to a dance troupe that she dances alongside, all the while giving the most unnerving smile imaginable, at least until you get to the end credit scene. This is a weird comparison to make, so bear with me, but this scene felt awfully close to the comedy club scene in The Joker, where everything that's happening is in their head and you're witnessing the genuine mental decline of a human being. It's some of the scariest stuff I've ever seen on film. To really no one's surprise, Pearl isn't picked to join the troupe, absolutely breaking her heart and leaving her devastated. Mitski consoles her sister-in-law and walks her home, where we get an amazing one-take from Mia Goth as she monologues about the pain she's felt and what she's dealt with. It isn't until she starts admitting to the killings that Mitski becomes alarmed and decides to flee from the farm, but doesn't get too far by the time she is ultimately brutally murdered by Pearl with the same axe we see her with from the promotional material. It goes without saying that it's no easy feat to make a performance like this seem genuine and believable, but Mia Goth went above and beyond and acted her ass off. This is easily my favorite performance in a horror movie this year.
I want to be loved from as many people as possible. But truth is, I'm not really a good person.
It's not too often that we get franchises in horror these days, but Ty West succeeded where a lot fell short and created a compelling series of movies that are well acted and you can tell that so much love and care go into them. If you were smart and stayed after the credits, you'd have caught a teaser for the third and seeming final movie in the series, Maxine, which continues the story of Maxine from X, and of course it's spelled with 3 X's, because why not? I cannot wait to see what Ty West and Mia Goth come up with for the future of the series, but whatever direction they choose to take, you can bet I'll be right there, ready and waiting. For those that are wondering, I do like X more than this movie. The casting is so perfect, and the characters were so well written that I cannot help but like it just a little bit more than this installment. Thank you all for taking the time to view this video. Let me know down below in the comments what your favorite parts were, and don't forget to join the Discord link down below in the comments and stay involved with the community I've been growing over there. It's filled to the brim with some awesome people, and I'd love to see some new faces. But until next time, be kind to one another, and go watch yourself a horror movie. Bye!